everyone, welcome back. I wanted to show you what I was making tonight for dinner. It's chicken pineapple stir fry. I'm going to do an Asian themed dinner tonight just to change it up a little bit for the family. We're getting a little bored of the same old, same old. So before we dive into me actually cooking, I'm going to show you what is going into the stir fry so you can get an idea of that. Skinless chicken breast that I'm going to slice into 2-inch strips. I'm using Splenda, so I still have my 2 tablespoons of that. I have one teaspoon of cornstarch. I have 1 tablespoon of ketchup. I have 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, which I wanted to show you this little contraption. I hope everybody has this contraption. It's a garlic press. You just load the garlic in, push her out, and she's all done. So that's my 1 tablespoon of garlic right there. I have 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, and this is a ginger root if you've never seen it before. So you can find it in most supermarkets or in a specialty store, but the regular supermarket has it. If you don't use ginger that often, like I don't really use it that often, I put it in a Ziploc bag and keep it in the freezer. It keeps for quite some time actually. And then you can take it out as needed. And then to, mince up the ginger, I use this guy here. I don't know if you have one. It's a micro planer. It's really great. It comes with this great handle so you don't have to worry about skinning your fingers off. And then you would just rub the ginger on this side here like a cheese grater, and then it comes out the back. And it's awesome because it's like a super fine shred. Then we move on to our like liquid ingredients, and I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I like to use the less sodium because why do we need all that salt in our lives? And then we need about an 8-ounce can of pineapple chunks. So mine is a 20-ounce can because that's what I had, so that's what I'm going to use, and I'm going to just figure out what 8 ounces is. But then we need a 1/4 cup of the liquid. So there's a 1/4 cup of the liquid on reserve. And then we have the apple cider vinegar, which is 1 tablespoon. And then the tablespoon is in here. And then we've got the green pepper, which I'm going to slice up to go in with our stir fry. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix all the ingredients first. We're going to mix up all the ingredients. So I'm just going to throw all the wet ingredients into the bowl. Here's our 1/4 cup of pineapple juice, our 1 tablespoon of cider vinegar, our 1/4 cup of the soy sauce going in, then we have our 1 teaspoon of the cornstarch. That's going to thicken it up so it's not a liquidy sauce. Usually, when you get takeout, it's that thicker, richer kind of a sauce. So that's what we're going to use. That's what we have here. Here's our ketchup. Our garlic. The sugar. Our ginger, and we're just going to mix this baby up. And then what we're going to do is set this aside for a minute. We're going to heat up our frying pan with some vegetable oil. I actually have, it's called a stir fry oil. You can buy that usually in the international section of your supermarket or in a specialty food store. It's kind of just like a pre-seasoned cottonseed oil. It's good for high heat cooking, which is what we're going to do when you stir fry. But you can use the vegetable oil, that's fine. I just found that today, so I'm going to use that to be a little extra fancy. And then we're just going to stir fry up our vegetable, the pepper that I'm going to slice up, and the onions along with the chicken. Throw this on top, and then towards the end, when it's all done, we're going to throw in the rest of the pineapple to make our pineapple chicken. And that's all she wrote. So let's get her fired up. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to add my oil to my pan, get it nice and hot. Instead of using what the recipe calls for, I found this in the supermarket. It's stir-fry oil, which is basically cottonseed oil that's been seasoned. This one has infusion with garlic, onion, and herbs for high heat cooking. I do want to also note that I do have a wok, but I'm not going to be using it. I'm going to use just my regular old frying pan that everybody's familiar with, because I don't feel like digging my wok out, and not everybody has a wok, so I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that they can certainly do stir fry if you don't have the actual wok. So I'm just going to open this bad boy up, and I'm going to just give my frying pan, which is on high heat, a good drizzle of this, which is kind of shooting out. It's not really pouring. And so earlier I mentioned that you can use frozen mixed stir-fry vegetables or any kind of vegetables you want. I'm not using the frozen ones today. I do have some fresh vegetables that I want to use. So that's what I'm going to do instead. But if I didn't have the fresh vegetables, or let's say if it was winter time and the selection wasn't available or something like that, then I would go ahead and use the frozen. If I was crunched for time, I would go ahead and use the frozen. So what I'm going to put in the pan first are my onions and the peppers. And you can hear it starting to sizzle. And now the onions, I just sliced them. The peppers, I sliced. I tried to keep them about the same thickness as the chicken, because we were cutting those into 2-inch strips. So I'm trying to keep everything the same, because remember, when you do high heat cooking, you want everything to cook super fast and evenly. That's the name of the game when you're doing wok cooking or stir frying. So I could really smell the infused stir fry oil. It's pretty good. I think I'm going to be happy that I used that. And that I was able to find that, because sometimes you don't really find those things when you're looking for them. So that was a pleasant surprise today when I hit up the grocery store this morning. So that's an added plus to this recipe. If not, no big deal. You can use any kind of oil you want. Just don't use olive oil. That's not recommended when you do high heat cooking. It burns pretty quickly. But you can use any other oil. I certainly would if I didn't have what the recipe calls for in stock or in my house. Okay, so the onions and the peppers have been in here for about a minute. They're still pretty raw. They're not really tender yet, which is fine, because I'm going to go ahead and throw my sliced boneless, skinless chicken breasts in there. I cut these into about 2-inch slices. Again, you don't have to do them in strips. You can do them in cubes or whatever, however you like your Chinese style cooking to be. It doesn't really make a difference. Like I said, you want them kind of thin and almost bite-size-ish, because think about when you get your takeout, when you order takeout or you go to a restaurant, it's pretty much almost bite-size, and that's due to the high heat cooking. You want it to cook fast. So I'm going to go ahead and keep mixing this up, because I don't want it to stick to my pan, even though I did oil it up pretty good. I want all the chicken to get cooked on all the sides. And then once this is pretty much cooked completely, I would say, I'm going to add the pineapple, and I'm going to add that pineapple glaze or sauce that we made earlier. I'm going to put that in here, and then just give that another couple minutes on the heat, and then take it off and plate it up, and then that'll be done. Okay, so my chicken is pretty much almost done. I do see a couple raw pieces still that need to be cooked through a little bit more, but I'm gonna go ahead and add my sauce and my pineapple in, because I want my chicken to start pulling in and absorbing some of those sweet flavors and the richness of the sauce that we made, because otherwise what's the point of eating it? Pineapple chicken. So in I'm going to toss my cubed pineapple that we got out of the can that we added the juice to the sauce earlier. So that guy's going to go in there. And my heat's still on high. I didn't even touch the knob at all. And then I can see my onions are beginning to turn translucent. My pepper still has pretty good texture. And now I'm just gonna add in the broth or the juice that we made earlier, whatever you like to call it. And as soon as that hits the pan, I can really just smell all the ginger and the garlic that we have in there. So I already know it's gonna taste really good. So I'm just going to finish cooking it in this broth or this juice or sauce, whatever you like to call it. And the chicken's going to pull in some of those flavors. And now if you wanted to thicken this sauce a little bit, you didn't want it so thin, you can go ahead and mix a couple tablespoons of cornstarch with some cold water. Make sure it's mixed thoroughly and then add it to the pan. And keep mixing it. You don't want those white lumps that can sometimes come around when you're mixing flour or cornstarch to thicken things up, which I might go ahead and do that. I'd like it to be a little bit more glazy than saucy. But otherwise it's looking and smelling really good. And in like 2 minutes it should be done. And I can serve it to the family. So I did go ahead and mix about 1 tablespoon cornstarch with water, and I'm just gonna add that in. Just because, like I said, I wanted it to be a touch thicker, so it's more glazy and thick to really coat and stick to the chicken. And I'm going to just stir it to incorporate it, and I should start to see that thicken relatively quickly. Yep, it's already happening. It's kind of like a science experiment when you see things start to come together. So I hope you try this recipe. It was fairly easy to do. You can do some of the steps in advance, like make the sauce, cut up the vegetables, cut up the chicken, keep everything in the refrigerator until you're ready to stir fry it up, let's say when you come home from work, or if you're out for the day with the kids or something like that, or if you've got company coming over later and you want to prep and then clean up the kitchen for the most part. So it's a good thing that you can do in advance. I had my ginger style Japanese steakhouse dressing served over my broccoli slaw salad and my mixed vegetable teriyaki. So I've got a lot of vegetables happening, a lot of nutrition. I'm gonna go ahead and plate this up. I'll stick a picture hopefully at the end of my video and along with the recipe. All right, well, happy eating. I'll see you guys next time. Take care.